Hello everyone, I'm Drifting, and today I'm going to be discussing a fun web novel I recently read called Bad Ending Maker. There's two unique aspects to it I want to discuss. First off, this web novel is actually a webtoon. It recently came out and was translated to English in early 2024 around January. There's only 20 episodes out, so I'm not going to go into too many spoilers, but I'm going to be using a lot of visuals from the webtoon there. It's very faithful to the original web novel. A lot of details in the web novel, it gets translated into the webtoons, so that's really cool. And the second unique thing is that this was previously covered by Panchon. His YouTube handle is Novel Fantasy, and he covered this 4 years ago. So this guy's kind of a real time traveler. But Bad Ending Maker is really fun in the aspect that it's a unique video game fantasy web novel. So there's a lot of VR video game elements and reality elements similar to Ready Player One or Legendary Moonlight Sculptor. Bad Ending Maker is unique because the protagonist kind of has this villain or evil aligned template. It's similar to The Villain Wants to Live, or has this GM aspect to it that's really fun. And it really reminds me of this English web fiction called To Break the World or Carn Online. So it has like this villain template that we're going to get into in a little bit. So Bad Ending Maker has a total of 253 to 256 chapters. So I expect the webtoons to be between 200 and 400 episodes in the long run. I really love the web novel covers, great web novel cover art, and it's a unique protagonist. So we start off with our main character, Minchul. He is a GM. He's a game director at the company Napalm. Him and his two childhood friends, Dongha Lee, who's head of the quality assurance department, and Shinji Seong, who's head of the graphic department, are three childhood friends who came together and developed this live service game called Wings Online. So they run the number one VR game in the world, right? A lot of these VR games, you have to use AI. So along the way, GM Minchul creates this game management AI called Gaia. He also has a personal AI called Oasis that kind of becomes his companion, a development AI. But he is the game director of one of these huge game companies, right? Similar to the game director Returns from Hell. And he has this kind of GM background. So it's really fun, similar to GM Awakens Probability or like Rewrite, where he's a lot of knowledge and intricacies of this game. He really cares about Wings Online. He calls his players adventurers, and then GM is kind of like the support staff for this VR virtual reality world. And so Napalm is synologist to a lot of these video game companies. In Korea, it's Nexon. In Japan, it's Nintendo. And in China, you'd have something like HoYoverse or Reverse 1999 for Genshin and all those types of video games. The problem with GM Minchul is that he's a very good game director. He's poured 10 years of his life into this video game, but he's not very good at monetizing this game. That's where we have this golden parachute person, someone from inside the company, come down to try and monetize this video game. He's kind of the villain, Hasu Yun. He wants to introduce a lot of cash items and loot boxes to try and monetize this live service game. Minchul, prioritizing the player experience, knows this is going to ruin the game and run it into the ground. Hasu-Yun doesn't care. He's kind of this financial guy trying to make money for the shareholders, because Napalm is this huge game company and wants to make money, similar to like a lot of gacha games. GM Minchul, he's also known as GM Shrimp or GM Anchovies, so a lot of fish analogies there, is much more of a purist, a gaming purist, because he came from scratch, right? He and his childhood group of friends created Wings Online. They were like a previous party by themselves and then got acquired, right? But for the company, it doesn't make profits. So he's eventually fired, and that's where the story begins. He chooses this location called Undertown, which is this very notorious location where a lot of villain players begin. You have the beggar sect. In the web novel he discussed, there's this hidden class called the Dark Mage, where if you commit a lot of evil in the starter village, you would get that class. There's an even more hidden class called like the Dark Lord or Demon Lord class. So this is where we go down this villain route, right? Because our main character, GM Minchul, was fired, he wants to bring a bad ending to this game. That's, the title of the web novel, Bad Ending Maker. He has this AI companion, Oasis, another advanced AI. So Oasis and Gaia are related in some way. Gaia is in charge of managing the game, and then Oasis is kind of this development AI companion, which you'll get to in a little bit. But we meet a couple of named characters in Undertown, this very notorious area. GM Minchul acquires this Demon Lord class. So he's trying to go on this villain route of bringing the game to its knees with his GM knowledge. So Guy, and then we have a little bit of tension between the AI trying to manage the game, Guy, his former companion, and Minchul, who's trying to, the Demon Lord. So kind of like Mao no Kujo, right? So we have these two factions. Minchul hasn't done too much evil, but he has a lot of like knowledge of the video game systems because of his work at managing the video game. And then he's trying to hide this from his friends. We meet a couple of interesting named characters. The first one we meet in like around chapter 4 of the Webtoons is Akasha. He is this black market merchant. He's known as a gold shop. He's done a lot of illegal things in game, mostly just, real life cash transactions for in-game items such as like gold farming or selling gold for cash. He acquires 1 million gold pieces and he's trying to buy up iron for this particular reason. The reason why is because Ha-Seung Yoon, when he came in and he wants to introduce all these cash items, it's for this new Season 6 update, right? It's a brand new expansion. There's going to be a lot of new items. And taking advantage of this update, they're going to completely change the game as a whole. And Minchul is starting from scratch and trying to grow his character from level 1 to whatever the level cap is for this Season 6 update. So we meet a lot of interesting characters. Akasha is this black market merchant. Very cute character design. There's a little bit of villain aspects to it. It was interesting to see how they depicted it. We meet another named character called Kane, one of the people who won the first tournament. And then he claims he was the runner-up for the first tournament. He lost, but he claims there's some cheats involved, right? We meet Oasis, this really cute companion, this nanny healer, I guess is the Korean term for it. She becomes a priest, and then Minchul is kind of this demon lord where he is to gain notoriety. It's a really fun web novel because there's a lot of GM aspects. As I said before, this is a video game fantasy web novel. So there's going to be a lot about updates and like a lot of in-game video fighting, but it takes it in a new direction, right? There's a lot of villain aspects to it, similar to The Villain Wants to Live. But there's always this sort of weird tension where it's like, yeah, he wants to cause a bad ending, but it doesn't really feel like quite a Demon Lord web novel. One other character we're introduced to is a hacker from Bali called Rabbit. I really love the web novel cover art because you'll get to see it, so I'm not going to spoil that particular character, but I'm going to show you one of the fun web novel covers. You won't see this character for quite a long time, and even then their identity isn't quite revealed, but there's a lot of fun characters in Bad Ending Maker. I really enjoyed the video game aspect where you kind of have this behind the scenes take similar to Rewrite or GM Probability. A lot of GM web novels have that, and I'll be showing some English web fictions with a similar video game premise, like To Break the World or Getting Hard, Karn Online. Like the video game genre and like the VR genre used to be huge, and it's really fun to see a web novel like that. So yeah, that's Bad Ending Maker. If you're interested, check out Pen Chong's review 4 years ago. Man, it's been a while. So yeah, if you enjoy, definitely check out the Webtoons, and we'll stop here.